This
CAR
conference will now be recorded.
CAR positive, which is the most important one. Like there are different clients who have implemented SAP CAR, and out of all the modules, it is the positive which has been used widely across. Okay, so 100% it will be CAR positive, which will be on use. Other modules maybe may not be used, so it's not guaranteed. Okay. So
Okay, you are going to okay, you are only positive day, right? You are going to teach only positive day.
no, not exactly. So I am just starting the introduction with CAR positive. I wanted to just emphasize that how important positive is in the total landscape of SAP CAR. Now, apart from CAR positive, there are other modules which are also covered here. For example, we'll be covering multi-channel sales analytics. We'll be covering real-time inventory visibility. We will be covering on-shelf availability. We'll be covering omni-channel omni-channel article availability and sourcing, which is called CAR OAA. We'll be covering omni-channel promotion and pricing, which is OPP. We'll be also covering data-driven framework, which is called DDF, and UDF. Now in CAR, all these processes could not be covered end to end. For example, if we talk about OAA or OPP, so this needs third-party system involvement. So we don't have that infrastructure. So we'll be covering the configuration and the transactional data, which is confined with the limits of SAP CAR system. We don't have a third-party system which are required in case of a end-to-end demonstration for OPP and OAA. Okay, so that's the nutshell. Now let me share my screen and let me basically try to explain something in basics. Now we don't have a lot of time here in the demo session. Obviously, I cannot do a lot of activities to give you end-to-end flavor, but let me try to provide at least some insight so that you get an idea what is CAR and how we are going to take things forward. So let me share my screen. Okay. Let me know if you can see my screen.
No.
No. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, we have a CAR system here, which is integrated with a S/4HANA 2020 system, and we'll be carrying all the scenarios end to end, whichever is possible across these two systems. One is CAR 5.0, and then there is S/4HANA 2020. So let me log into the CAR system first. Now let us cover one basic scenario in CAR positive here. So, so even before that, what is the purpose of CAR positive? So someone of you told that you are having some experience in SAP CAR, and I believe it is CAR positive. Is it Ramesh? Or who introduced first? I think it was Ramesh. Yeah, you told that you have exposure in SAP CAR, and is it CAR positive that you are having some exposure?
The CAR positive.
Okay, so what is the purpose of CAR positive? What does it do from business functionality wise? Any idea based on what you have worked or whatever experience you have gathered in SAP CAR positive? So what is the business process? Are you aware of it?
I think we'll get data from POS team, point of sales, and
yeah, exactly. So we have to understand the business before we go into the details of any kind of functional process in SAP CAR. So here the business process is at the stores. The transaction is happening, meaning end customers will visit any particular store, and they will make their purchase, and they will make the payment, and they will buy the product. So in the stores, in the point of sale system, we have lots of transactional data, mainly sales transactions, like someone buying 5 items, someone buying 10 items. So all these are sales transactions. So each transactional activity which is carried out by a particular customer is a sales transaction. So these data needs to come back to SAP landscape. So there is a interface, there is an integration between the point of sale system to the SAP CAR system, and it's not a direct integration. There is a middleware involved in between, because from the POS end, the data which is sent out is XML files, and SAP CAR doesn't have the capability to directly consume the XML files. So there is a middleware which is required, which will consume the XML files, and it will create some particular format which is acceptable by SAP CAR. So in SAP CAR, we get something called transaction logs, and perhaps you are familiar with this transaction if you have some exposure in CAR post DTA. So this is where we get to see the transaction logs. Okay. So have you seen this transaction? I forgot your name again. Yeah. Ramesh. Yeah. So have you seen this transaction?
Yes, I've seen this transaction. We enter store and here header.
Yeah, exactly. So
In header.
this transaction is the most frequently used transaction in CAR post DTA. So anything that you want to do, you have to come to this transaction. So the transaction logs will be created. That's an automated process. Once you have a middleware and integration between POS to middleware and middleware to CAR. So that's a technical part. Once that part is set up and running, you will get to see the transaction logs through this workbench. For example, let me see if there is any data available on today's date. So probably I will have to check the month end, and hopefully some data will be there. Okay. So these are the transaction logs. Now, what are the different kinds of transaction logs we can expect in SAP CAR? So there are multiple business transactions. You can see sales movement, totals, financials, good movement, reversal, controls, and there is something called not defined, which is not actually a business transaction, but it's an exception. Now, these 6 different kinds of business transactions are the total possible transactions or functionalities rather that can happen out of POS. So sales movement will comprise of 95% of the total volume of transactions that happen at the POS on day-to-day basis. So it is very common that in the POS system, the sales will be the maximum one, and then there will be 5% attributed by this goods movement, totals, reversals, which are basically the cancellations, controls, and financials. So mainly you can expect the sales movement or the sales transactions, and this is the one which business is most interested on. The others like goods movement, totals are not that much used. Financials to some extent is used. Reversals are basically total cancellations. They are also to some extent used. Controls are used, but it doesn't have a lot of functionality embedded in it. It's just a kind of FII, and not defined is an exception. So whatever could not be fit into the above 6 will come under not defined. Okay. So this is the short overview. Now, in this session, let me show you one end-to-end scenario. Okay. So I will create a transaction log, of course, manually. And then what I will do, I will process it end to end, and then we'll go into the S4 system and see the posting of the item. So let me create a transaction log manually from the scratch. So let's create the header data first. So we have to put a store. Now this store data, the product data will be available in SAP CAR from the S4 system. And there will be a SLT replication job which will be running, and it will ensure that all the master data is available in CAR system. So the store and products which are part of the site master and article master will be transferred or rather replicated from S4 to CAR system. CAR doesn't have any capability to create any master data. It gets the master data from the source system, which is the S4 system. So that's the mechanism. SLT is managed by the basis team. So as a CAR functional consultant, we are not much associated with that particular process because that is owned by the basis team. So we will get the data from the S4 system and we can use the same data. Like I will use a store R104 here. I have posting date. Now transaction type is something which controls the business transaction. For example, in the front end of Monzino, I said that there are 6 to 7 business transactions. So this transaction type will control which kind of business transaction it is going to create. So it's a config object basically. Now if we go to the SPRO and see this definition, so this transaction type definition in the config, there are different options in the drop down, and 1001 is flagged as sales movement. So if I use 1001 here, it's going to create a business transaction and of type sales movement, meaning this one. So essentially transaction type controls which business transaction is going to be created. Then POS number is the physical POS number, meaning a store might have 5 or 10 physical POS systems. So which is the POS system from where the sale has originated. And transaction number is the invoice number. So every POS software will be enabled with the functionality of generating the invoice numbers automatically. It might be in sequence, it might be out of sequence. So let's say the transaction number is 5. Then department, it is optional. It can be entered or it can be left blank. So let's put something cashier name, employee ID. It will be generally associated with the store associate name or employee ID. So most of the times it will be filled with the initials of the store associate name or the employee ID or the first name, something like that. And this will be the timestamp. And this will get the header data of the transaction log. So in the header, we will have the store, the timestamp, date, transaction type, POS number, transaction number. So once this is saved, it is going to create the header data, and now we have to enter the item data, like what are the products that has been sold under this transaction. Now in reality, we don't have to do anything like this because if the integration has been built, then at the end we will see only the transaction logs. We are not going to create any transaction logs manually like this ever. Now here let us enter the item level data. There is something called sales item type. This is again a config object. Now this differentiates between a sale and return. Now why it is required? Let's say in a single transaction, a customer has bought 5 items and at the same time he has returned 2 items. So how do you differentiate between the sale and return? So SAP has given this option of item type, which basically is used for differentiating between the sales and return. So let me quickly show you that as well. So there is something called sales item type. So 2001 is for sales. It is a copy of the standard basically. And in standard also we have this 2001 as sales. And then there is something 2801 for return. So there is a lot of noise coming. I don't know from whose end it is coming from. Hello.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it was happening for quite some time. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, sales item type. That's for 2001 here. Now this is qualifier for article identifier. I will put the SAP product code. Although we can also expect this EN code to be filled here, but it requires a bit of explanation, so I am skipping it for now. I will just use qualifier 2, which is for an article code. So once you put 2 here in the next field, which says article identifier, it will expect a article code. And the article code should be created in S4 and it should be replicated to CAR. And how many quantities sold? Let's say 2 pieces has been sold. And there are 2 sales values. One is actual, another is normal. So if there is a discount, then your actual will be less than the normal. And if there is no discount, then both will be the same. Okay. Now, these are the basic minimum data that is expected in a transaction log for sales. And I am entering those data. There can be a lot of other data which can also be entered. I am skipping those all at the moment. It requires a lengthier discussion if we want to go through each and every aspect of it. So, and this is standard type, meaning how the customer has made the payment, and the means of payment should also be defined in the configuration. Like we'll have the tender type definition here. So this cash is the payment type defined here among MasterCard, Amex, few others are also defined. So we'll have to put these details as well. And now, ideally, this transaction log should undergo a lot of audit checks. So POS stands for point of sale, data transfer, and audit. So the audit checks will happen initially. Now, any idea of the audit checks? What is the purpose, or how does the audit check work, or what are the capabilities of audit check in SAP CAR? Any idea? Whoever has worked in SAP CAR?
Stock check
Stock check meaning?
in the store, checking the stock, like do we have a stock or not?
No, I am talking about audit checks in SAP CAR, not in the store. So,
Not
okay. So maybe I thought since you have worked in SAP CAR, to some extent you might have got some idea. So how long have you worked in SAP CAR? You said you have worked. So how long?
no,
Is
not
it for a few
I
months?
just worked as a shadow, like just like 2 months.
Oh, okay. Then it will not be known to you. Fine. So audit checks are basically for detecting the sanctity of the data, like if the data is correct and it is complying with certain standards in SAP CAR, so all these things are checked. For example, one very common check which is always applied is the duplicate check. I mean, there are other checks as well, but let's talk about the duplicate check. So what is the purpose of duplicate check? So it should check that the same transaction number should not repeat twice. So for the same store,
Yes.
same date, for the same POS number, so the unique criteria is store, date, and POS number. So for these three combinations, the transaction number should not repeat twice. If it repeats, then the second one is a duplicate. By mistake, it has come. So that's one of the audit check. There are quite a few audit checks possible. Now, that is the USB of SAP CAR, that the transactional data is checked for different kind of mechanism, and each of these mechanism is ensuring that whenever the data is transferred out to SAP S4, then it is absolutely correct and error free. So in the end, in SAP S4, we are always getting error free data, uh, which is correct in every sense. So that audit check is a big topic. I mean, obviously, I cannot elaborate a lot on that part, but audit check is one of the most important areas of SAP CAR in the CAR positive topic. And you can just check one example of audit check. Let's copy this and deliberately create a duplicate, and then there is a task which ensures that the duplicate check is executed. Yeah, so this one will fail. Check for duplicate transaction. So the transaction index, meaning the one that was created later, so that will fail, saying that it is the same as that of index one. So that is why it has failed. So this is duplicate check. There are other checks as well, not going into that topic now. Here we have a sales transaction, and assuming that it has passed all the checks, I am going to process it, meaning I am going to transfer it out to SAP S4. Now, before doing that, let me also show you the stock position of the particular product. So this article in this store currently is having 33 pieces of stock, and in here what we have is 2 pieces which has been sold. So if I now process this data, meaning send it out to S4, it is going to decrease the stock from 33 to 31 because 2 pieces has been sold. So there is a mechanism where we generate something called WPU MSI doc, and this is going to decrease the stocks. So this will create a IDOC, outbound IDOC from CAR to S4. This is outbox, meaning it is going out from SAP CAR, and this will create a corresponding inbound IDOC in SAP S4. So let us see that IDOC first. So there are few transaction codes I am typing like WE02. I don't know if you are aware of it. So these transactions are used for checking the IDOCs. Now let us execute and see. Yeah. So this one got created just now, and it is in the inbound, meaning it has been received in SAP S4. And if we go and check the data, so once the IDOC is posted in S4, it will create the article document or the material document. Since you are having SD background, you will know, of course, about it because it is the same thing that happens on PGI of the outbound delivery. So it is the same kind of material document, meaning any movement of stock will be associated with a material document in SAP. That's the standard concept. So when the IDOC gets posted, the stock will be reduced, and that is associated with a movement type and a material document. And now if I refresh, the stock will reduce from 33 to 31. Yeah. So this is one of the activity that happens when the IDOC gets posted. And then there is a billing document or the post billing document, which will post the values, the sales value to the revenue account. Now, this is something totally under SD, so you probably are aware that how the account determination happens. So it follows the same route. So if the GL account settings are maintained correctly by the finance team, it will credit the revenue account and it will debit the store account. So this is one end-to-end flow of the sales transaction log processing. Now there are many subtopics under it, many points to discuss under it. But in a demo session, we cannot cover a lot. So this is just for your understanding, basic understanding how the sessions will go. Now, in the sessions, I will be discussing about the business context and then the corresponding configuration, transactional activity, and we'll share the relevant documents. So every topic, subtopic that is outlined in the course content will be discussed in that particular manner. Business context, config, transactional activity, and documents. So that's it from my side. If you have any questions, any specific queries, you can let me know. I will try to answer them. Or anything that you would like to see in the system.
So what topics we can cover in these sessions? Like how many classes we are going to be?
Yeah, it will take around how many? 15 to 20 sessions. I mean, it depends on case to case. People with advanced level of SAP background can take it within 12 to 15 freshers. So with or I mean, people with less experience might also take 20. Like on an average, it takes between that time duration, 15 to 20.
Okay, so for a session is a 1 hour class, right?
Yeah, 1 hour class.
Okay. And some few topics are there from if like business process of a car and car architecture, configurations, mapping to
Yeah,
surrounding
definitely.
systems, enlisting apps, like analytical apps. So these
Yeah,
total topics
whatever.
are going to cover in this session, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever is outlined in the course content, which Naveen might have shared with you already, those will be covered. So I would suggest you to go through that course content and
Okay.
then take a decision. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine then. Okay. So thanks for your time. Okay. So just think about it, go through the course content, and then let Naveen know if you plan to join this session. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Once again, hello.
Yeah. Tell
Hello,
me.
right? Yeah. So we get this like, do we get SAP car access?
Yeah, you will need to get SAP CAR access. You will need to get SAP S4 HANA 2020 access, and then you will also need to get the HANA Studio access, which is for the CAR HANA database.
Okay, how many days of validators?
How many? Probably 2 to 3 months, probably.
So
You
do
will
we
have
need to
that.
extra? Do we need to pay extra for this? Is this included in
No,
the?
I
Okay,
think it is included. You can just check with me.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh. So are you working for the car from since? So may I
Yeah,
know this?
2016. Yeah,
2016.
2016 end basically. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for the time.
yeah. Okay, bye.
Hello, Naveen, are you there? Hello, hello,
I think Naveen is
hello.
not here.
Okay.
Shall we left? Hello. Yeah, okay, fine.